FoME is the German platform for international media development initiatives. It currently includes 24 organizations working in one or another way towards strengthening independent media in developing and transition countries. The annual symposium is FoME's flagship event. As the Friedrich-Ebert-Stiftung, we have the honor to host the symposium this year, which marks already the 14th edition. Overall, media capture is a danger for free, independent, and pluralistic media, and since the media is the fourth pillar of democracy, for democracy itself.
My name is Edith Kimani, and I'll be taking you through the program. But very warm welcome to you all to the 2018 Symposium of the Forum, Media and Development, which we will be calling FoME from here on, the silent takeover media capture in the 21st century. If we decided not to tell this story, then we would have made our boss, the owner of the company, and a very influential politician very happy. And then there was a third thing we had to consider. The largest advertiser in the company at the time and today as well, the government. How would we deal with this? How would we make sure that we don't upset the person who would come and take over that company? Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 FoME-Symposium puts this complex triangle of politics, media, and private interests at the center of the debate. And for the next 2 days, we'll be discussing the factors that foster media capture, the extent to which this expanding strategy influences democracy, pluralism, and freedom of the press.
We should absolutely support regulation on ownership and competition. We should support, where appropriate, the public service broadcasters. I think that creating a global fund for investigative journalism is a bold new idea that we can get behind. And we really need to come to grips with what good laws would look like. I think before Donald Trump in the US, we were almost a little relaxed about laws because we thought there's goodwill.
One of the statements you made, which I thought was really interesting, the media appeared to be free, but actually wasn't. Would you say that this is true of the media as it exists in 2018?
In some places. I think what happened after the democratic transitions in many countries is it seemed like the media was free, and instead we wound up with this triangle that we're talking about, where political interests teamed up with business interests. One of the important things to understand about what's different about media capture is the rise of the internet. Because profitability was really damaged by the internet, partly due to the changes in audience and the lack of advertising revenues, the incentives for owning media outlets have really shifted. So when profit isn't as much of an incentive, what are you left with? Partly prestige and partly political power. So I think that understanding what the digital age has done to capture is really important if we can understand, in order for us to understand media capture in the modern world.
I think the media capture is a huge threat. I'm not sure how silent it is. There are many different forms of capture. Some are incredibly noisy, some are fought out in the public sphere, some are actually fought in the streets in terms of democratic movements trying to reassert some kind of oversight and accountability. So sometimes they're noisy, but it's true that there is increasingly a surreptitious and an invisible capture of media by a whole range of forces, not just private operators, but also, I think, state forces as well. So it's a serious threat. And of course, what it does is it really takes democratic accountability, removes transparency from the public sphere. And that is something that wherever it takes place, whatever the threat may be, there needs to be a very decisive response to once again put the public interest at the heart of communications.
There is a model where they use a group of oligarchs to either simply buy media outlets, or if they don't want to sell, especially because these were foreign owners from Austria, Germany, and so on, they use regulatory measures to decrease the value of their companies. So in the end, they leave the country. They basically push them out of the country.